Hi, my name is Evan Thixton, and I'm here with my co-host Allison. And today we're going to be talking about the iconic and well-known song "La Bamba" by Richie Valens. Um, First, I'd like to talk about the history of the song. It has a very rich history. Originally, it came from Africa. I'm not exactly sure which part, but the song originally was about the Bamba River. What are your thoughts about that?
Well, my understanding is that this is it was a Mexican folk song that had the roots from Africa and the Caribbean, because when Mexico was colonized, there was all these different influences from different parts of the world. Is that right? And
Yes, I believe there were also slaves and just generally people from the region of by the Bamba River in Africa that were, had that song and those lyrics that were brought over to Latin America.
that's right. And so it was a traditional wedding song in
Mm-hmm.
Mexico in the early 1900s. Correct?
Yeah, correct. It's a traditional wedding song from Veracruz, Mexico. And actually the exact same lyrics as the Richie Valens La Bamba version, but just a different melody. And of course, like you said, it is a wedding song, so it's not really a Chicano rock song. It has a very rich history.
Right. That's what I remember reading too. And the interesting thing about it is then Ricky Valens took the song and he used the same words, but he put his own style of rhythm and music, and he turned it into a rock and roll song.
Yeah, of course. Richie Valens, he took the lyrics from the wedding song and made a whole new Chicano rock beat behind it. It was the new kind of music that was coming out, and Richie Valens wanted to make a name for himself, I believe, and he took a beautiful old folk song and just added a new beat to it, the same lyrics, a new rhythm, and it blew up, and it eventually was, recorded a little bit differently, but pretty much the same by Los Lobos. And in 1987, the movie La Bamba came out, and that was the first time a Spanish, a full song in Spanish made it on the number one on Billboard charts. It was a very big milestone when the movie came out, and it was bringing a lot of these cultures together, and it was really amazing because a lot of people who could not speak Spanish could sing along to the song because of the slow Spanish-speaking lyrics, along with the fun, upbeat, fast-paced rock rhythm to it. What are your thoughts?
I think one of my thoughts is that I just think it's so tragic that he wasn't even alive to see his song become such a sort of an iconic cultural influence in rock and roll.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he died in 1958 at 17 years old. This was one of his two big hits before he died, and it's incredible to think that how many years later are we? We're 60.
Over 60 years
over
later.
60 years later, it's still one of the most popular songs that really changed the course of rock and roll history, particularly for the Chicano culture. And I just keep thinking it's just so tragic that he's not here to see what an influence he had.
Yeah, he unfortunately passed away in the plane crash with the Big Bopper and Buddy Holly. But his legacy lives on with La Bamba and the movie and just the overall, representation of his culture. He was born to Mexican and Indian parents in the San Fernando Valley, California. He actually did not speak Spanish. He had to learn Spanish to sing La Bamba the way that he wanted to, which I thought really showed his dedication and showed how he was pushing the norm. He was thinking outside the box and really making a revolutionary song that would, like you said, even today live on for decades.
And one of the things that's so interesting is, from studying American history, what it was like to be an African American person in the 1950s. Well, it was actually just as difficult to be a person from a Chicano background, Latino
Latinos,
background. There was a tremendous amount of discrimination, and actually that was the era where people who wanted to be successful in rock and roll probably would have tried to fit in and to the white culture, and instead he had the courage to do something that was, I mean, that, if you think about it, this is 1958, right?
Yeah.
Or 57, or whenever it was that he actually released the song. And that took an incredible amount of courage, because what he was doing was he was putting out there a Spanish-speaking song at a time when there was nothing like that in the rock and roll world.
Yeah.
And I think that also speaks to his commitment to his culture.
Yeah, of course. And it was also pretty amazing how the song kind of switched genres. The wedding song from Veracruz is more of a traditional folk kind of genre of music known as son jarocho. And then that transitioned because of Richie Valens into Chicano rock. So it's interesting how even though the lyrics have stayed the same, because of the rhythm it has changed genres and has really, I think, been wonderful and been able to bring a lot of these cultures together, and just people having a good time and listening to the beautiful song that Richie Valens created. Yeah.
I don't think I've ever been to a wedding, whether it's a Caucasian wedding, whether it's a Latino, Chicano wedding, whether it's a Jewish wedding. I mean, I think everybody plays La Bamba, so it's sort of interesting that it's become a song that brings people together no matter what your roots are, whatever your cultural or religious identification. It's just it's a song about celebration, and I guess it doesn't surprise me that it started out as a wedding song, because that's a moment where everyone comes together.
Yeah.
And so there's just so many interesting connections to the song and how it brings people together.
Yeah, of course. Well, anyway, thank you so much. That's all we have time for today. I'd like to give a big thank you to Professor Morrison and the Fall 2020 Chicano and Latino Studies 368 class at Sonoma State University. Thank you for listening, and have a great winter break.